there was slow growth. And then I would say in the last 5 years, this explosion of cheesemakers. There was a time when if you were a cheesemaker, an American cheesemaker, you were kind of chopped liver. And now here we have a Meet the Cheesemaker event, like you're some kind of a celebrity. To live that evolution is interesting because we're not really doing anything different today than we did 20 years ago, but just the perception or the value of what we do is so changed.
It's just amazing how incredibly popular all the American cheeses have gotten, even since my idiot book came out in '96, Cheese Primer. Since then, it's just mushrooms, just billows of publicity and interest and fervor for American cheeses, and it's just like walking on a cloud. We're so proud of all you American cheesemakers, we just don't know what to do.
To see the explosive growth of American artisan cheese and the effect that's happened in the number of family farms that are starting to make it, and the maturing of some of the cheesemakers into really viable businesses that can set an example for other people, it's just wonderful. The idea of the sharing of knowledge and experience. That's really what it's about. So I think it's the most powerful thing on earth when people do it. It's very rare that you really find people who are willing to do that openly.
I see it beginning to consolidate into long-standing, established cheesemakers that really have begun to build a heritage for American cheese. But in 20, 30 years, there's going to be a pantheon of American cheese-making superstars that really have changed everything. And from 2000 to 2008, that's where we really began with our great heritage of cheese-making.
People have been making their cheeses for, a decade, 2 decades, 50 years, whatever it's been, and so the idea of terroir is really taking hold. And so we're seeing cheeses, milks developing real personalities, and that's translating into cheeses with personalities as well. We're starting to see lots more American cheeses with unique flavors, unique characteristics that defy comparisons to cheeses that we already know. The right place for American cheese is just on the world scene. American cheeses will take their place appropriately with the other great cheeses of the world.
I think ACS is critical. It has been and it will be increasingly critical in the future as being the voice, the mouthpiece, the representative of this movement. It's the focal point in terms of educating the public, policymakers, regulatory authorities. You need an identity as a group. ACS is going to find itself under the spotlight increasingly, I predict, in all sorts of public venues, to take stands, to present policy positions, to provide helpful, constructive input in decision making. That's a great position to be in.
At the beginning, there was a lot of people copying European styles because that's what the public knew. And now people are naming their cheeses wonderful things, from their area, and they're really learning to accept this culture of ours that is desperately wanting to know where their food comes from, to know who is making their food, where it's grown, and also, I think, seeking community. And I think that the American Cheese Society brings all of that to people. It brings a community of people who have this great love for cheese, who also have this great love for the land and great love for what they do and for hard work. And it's kind of complementing what's needed in America right now. I think it all just goes back to the fact of this is really one big cheese community. And to have it all in one place at least once a year is fabulous. And for all the people who have stuck with it, you're awesome. And you will always be remembered and cherished, and it's wonderful.